Hi, welcome to Just in the Woods. I'm Justin, and today we're going to make char cloth. First thing you're going to need is you're going to need a charring tin. I use these Altoid tins. You know, they're cheap, readily available, and you get the mints with them. You're going to need your material to char, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, but probably about the best material you could use is an old pair of blue jeans. And when a pair of blue jeans reach the end of their life, you just go on ahead and cut them up in little squares, and that makes excellent char. You're gonna need a lighter. If you're just starting with this, it's not 100% necessary to do in an Altoids tin, but you're gonna need a nail and you're gonna poke a small hole in the lid of this. That's to let the gases come out. Now, as I said, it's not necessary for the gases to come out in an Altoid tin because it's not fully sealed. But I like to have the hole there anyways. I'll end up using the lighter once gas starts to come out, and I'll be able to light that, and that kind of gives me an indicator of when the char cloth is close to being done, you know, telling by how tall the flame is. You're going to need a heat source of some sort. Today I'm going to try to use this little camp stove. It's a MSR Pocket Rocket 2. Obviously, you could do it in a fire. I've done it on a hot plate out in the garage. We'll go ahead and see if you get some made and show you how it's done. Essentially, all we're going to do is we're going to just put just a little bit in and make sure it's loosely packed. We're just only going to put a little bit in here. About like that. Make sure everything's real loose. Close her up. We're going to get this little stove started, and then we'll start the process. There we go. We're just going to take that stove down kind of simmering level. As you can see, we're already getting some gas to come out that hole. That's what we want. The reason I use this hole, once there's enough gas coming out of it, that could be lit. Ooh, a little bit of everything's getting lit there. That could be used as our indicator to know when it should be close to being done. This is moving pretty fast. We'll see. It usually takes about 10-15 minutes. Essentially what you're doing is you're providing heat and fuel. What the blue jean is going to be is the cloth, and you are depriving it of oxygen. Now our little flame's about to flicker out there, which that's good. We're almost done with this batch. Right, now that the flame went out, I like to go ahead and wait about 30 seconds to a minute. We'll go ahead and shut this down. Now you don't want to open your tin. We're just going to go ahead and see if we pick it up, set her down. Might want to do that with something else. The gloves are still burny through the glove, but we're just gonna let that sit there, and only when it's cool to the touch you open it. You don't want to be messing with it right now, because if you introduce oxygen into it, it's just gonna ignite. So we're gonna let that naturally cool down for a little while. Then at that point we'll go ahead and open it up and see what we got. Alright, so it's cool enough that you could go ahead and grab it with your hands. There's no heat left in it. Open her up, and we just have all solid black. Pretty good. It's a pretty good piece. It rips nice and easy. It's not brittle. Still very malleable. It's good. We're gonna go ahead and take a little piece and put a spark to it and see what we could get. Got this dead lighter from another video here. Okay, we got a little bit there. And that's really the magic of it, is that it could take what's considered a low temperature spark. So think of sparks off your lighter, flint and steel, things of that nature, solar. This right here, you see how nice and flexible that is? It tears real nice and easy. This is a premium piece of cloth there. When you get it where it's just a little bit too brittle, it'll just kind of just crush in on itself. Now you can still like this, but that's not a real premium piece that you want. You want a little bit of flex in it and have it fully black. As you can see, a piece like this isn't quite all the way done. And here's a big piece here, and you can see that there's still a lot of brown, a lot of brown in it. And you can just set this back in your tin and relight this up, and that will go away. That was my first time making char cloth on a rocket stove like that. And what I've noticed is that the heat is so concentrated and it works so fast. I have been tending to get a little bit more of those brittle pieces that are less desirable than I have in the past, actually making it in a regular fire, or I'm making it on a hot plate. They say that you really can't overdo it, and as far as the end product, it will all spark and it will do its job. It's just I think you get a more premium grade when you pay attention to it and don't overcook it. And it just doesn't have to be a piece of denim. Anything that's cotton or realistically natural material, they char up real well. These are just regular cotton balls. These are little bit of pieces of wood here. I got the old bottom of a t-shirt. This is some jute twine, that I made, a little bit of cordage out of and charred that up. Now denim seems to work the best, as far as, its rigidity, its capability of holding the spark and whatnot. It's important to have some cotton material such as a bandana or an old t-shirt with you, just in case you have to make char cloth, which we'll cover a lot more uses in later videos. That material could then be put into, tinder bundle or a bird's nest and be blown into flame. It's really a good idea to make char cloth in advance and just carry a little bit with you. All you need is a small spark and it'll catch, and then you have a fire. And once you get a fire going, you can make more if you carry a charring tin with you. And you could always fill this up too. It doesn't just have to contain the tin. I usually keep, my char cloth in a lighter and some couple of little odds and ends. It could go in this tiny little kit. A lot of people carry a flint and steel kit with their char cloth in a tin of this nature. Making charred materials, it leads into the concept of your next fire. Say for instance you get something done with a bow drill or a hand drill, a primitive type method. That's hard to do. It's very demanding, and the conditions have to be just right. So instead of having to use a bow every single time, you would make charred material, and that way then you would be able to use a flint and steel or a solar or any type of other sparking method, to help you. We're starting to talk a little bit more things that were back in the past, which it's good to perfect those type of skills because that's how we lived, for hundreds of years. We had to have those skills. I like to use char cloth whenever I can. If I could get it started with a dead lighter or using a flint and steel, it allows me to save resources by saving matches, saving fluid for the lighter, saving a little bit of my ferro rod. And it's just kind of fun to go on ahead and take an ember like that and blow it into flame in a more primitive type manner. Thank you for watching. We got a lot more to come here in the future. And as always, I'll catch you out in the woods.